So welcome, Leah.
Thank you so much.
I'm excited to chat with you.
I feel like I know you, but I haven't really met you in person. But I have nicknamed you Spunky. So that is your new
Spunky,
nickname.
I'm happy with that. Well, we've only met on one Zoom, actually. That was it. But yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like I
that's
know you
kudos
in.
to Sam Horn. Let's just give her a little love right now. Just shout out to Sam.
Yeah. Every, everyone who listens to my podcast is probably sick of me talking about Sam, but I don't
Right?
care.
They're like, what, who
But
is this woman? The mystery that we always talk about.
she's amazing. She's amazing. So Leah and I are part of Sam's community client group, and yeah, it just Sam's. I love Sam. I spent a few days in Hawaii with her. Just recently it was actually in August, and first time I met her in person, and I've been dying to working with her for years and dying to meet her in person, and we got to work together in Hawaii, and oh, just made my year. Actually, that was my
I
highlight.
love it. Tell me about Get Off the Bench.
Well, get off the bench is it well, I started I wrote a book, Magnificent Kids, and then I started Girls with Hammers, which is women's initiative conferences and that kind of thing. Oh no, before that I started One Planet Classrooms, which is a not-for-profit. And so I started speaking at conferences, talking about it. And then at one conference, Matt said to me, can you run a workshop? And I said, what about? And he said, helping people kickstart projects. And I said, why are you asking me to do that? I don't know how to do that. And he just looked at me like I was, not quite right. And so I did it. And then as I was doing the workshop, I said, oh shit, we haven't got enough time. I need to tell you about that. Oh, I need to tell you about that. Oh God, I haven't got enough time. I said, give me your emails, and this is not a marketing ploy. Just give me your emails, and when I get home, I'll type up a heap of stuff on a PDF and send it to you. And when I came home and started typing it all up, I thought, oh my God, there's enough here for a book. And I just thought, well, why not? So I just turned it into a book, and without thinking, now I look back and I think, oh, I could probably go back and change things, but I'm not going to. The past is the past, and a lot of people have told me it's made a difference. So there was a book, and then I decided to start the podcast. And basically, what it is kickstart your project. Like, just don't sit around waiting for tomorrow. Just I'm not telling people to leave their jobs and jump into insecurity. But if you got a passion that's burning in your heart, do that bloody thing, because tomorrow's not guaranteed.
Right. I thought it was fitness. Get off the bench. To me, it just it spoke like just get your ass up and do something.
Well, that's
So
it.
it's really a double entendre. I think it'll work for both.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a get off the bench in both ways. So I think I qualify for whatever description we want to place on it.
I think you qualify for it in a lot of ways. Actually, I'm just let me read one thing out. This is Leah Garcia, by the way, everybody. So Leah, let me just read this. And it won't land straight away until we start the conversation. But Leah Garcia is an award-winning media personality, former professional athlete, and the founder and CEO of NULASTIN, a science-backed beauty brand she launched in 2016. Now that kind of sounds like, oh yeah, well that's all right. There's a few very strong points in there. However, once we unpack this, you will know why I've got Leah on Get Off the Bench, because my God, that's, when I say professional athlete, we're talking about rodeos, we're talking about mountain bike riding, Tour de France, we're talking about, sports reporting, all that with CBS. I mean, you name it, there is so much in here. But I will start with saying, and I do like these stories, is that a lot of people think that people who have big achievements are born with a gift and born
Mhm.
with luck, or born with, everything falls in the right place. But there
Oh,
is
I've been
often,
accused of that a lot.
I bet you
A
do.
lot, a lot. Yes, it does look easy when the iceberg is floating, but you don't realize what's happening underneath. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I always joke that in my athletic world, what I made up for in physiological talent, of which I had much to gain, I made up for in grit and determination.
Yep.
So if, for me, I wasn't the most gifted athlete. Hell, I wasn't even an endurance athlete. I grew up sprinting around bases, playing baseball and running and catching and doing everything fast. Everything was fast in my world. And then all of a sudden, I started racing bikes, and I thought 2 hours was a long distance. And to me, it was. 2 hours was, I would bonk. I think in
Yeah.
Australia, you use a different word. Bonk is something different
Yeah.
than in America. It's when you hit the wall,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It means something different to you, doesn't it? It's
Yeah. It
like when I
does.
put
It,
my
it
fanny
it
pack
means
on.
means having sex, but we'll forget it.
So, but it was when you'd hit the wall. And so when I was first racing, oh man, I'd fly. And I start fast. I'm a fast starter. Love the start line. Just boom, I
Yeah.
can be up the front. But then I would race and my glycogen stores would deplete and I wouldn't have any more endurance in my tank. And then next thing you know, and when I hit the wall like stars, the little birdies
Yeah.
fly around your head and you just can't go any further. And people will go by you like, "Are you okay?" And you look at them, you're like, "No, I'm not okay. Do you have water?" So I learned to pace myself a little bit more. And now I'm in my 60s, so I slow down. I don't ever go anaerobic. And in those endurance races, I should have never been going anaerobic, but I did just because I couldn't help myself. Yeah.
We're the same age. We're exactly the same age, and I love it because I, I just want to tackle this age thing for a minute. I
Yeah.
was talking to my partner about this yesterday. I remember my nana when she was 50 and thinking, my God, she's old. She had the old church shoes on. She could hardly walk because of her bunions, and the curly
Oh
hair,
yeah.
I think bloody hell, things have changed a lot. 60's the new 40. That's what I think.
Right. It is. It is better chemistry through science. I mean, don't you think it's just because, and listen, I'm in the beauty business right now, and I started in the beauty business, number one, because I found a great product. But what I absolutely loved is we could take a performance product and have it make a meaningful difference in people's lives, much like we did as athletes. So, as
Yeah,
an athlete, you're going to fuel your body with what you want to eat, you want to sleep the right way, you want to take care of yourself. And then anything you do from a nutritional supplementation perspective is all to go faster.
yeah,
Joe DeSena always quoted that famous line from What Will It Make the Boat Go Faster?
yeah,
Joe DeSena, he's from Spartan Racing, but it's one of those things where I'm sitting around in a conference and he's talking about, will it make the boat go faster? And you think every decision that you make in your life, will it make the boat go faster? Will it make you better? Will it make you feel better, younger looking? So when I'm sitting there with a glass of wine in my hand, I ask
yeah.
myself, let's make the boat go faster. And then I agree, yes, because grumpy Leah does not go fast. I don't know
I
why I
love
don't
it.
have wine right now.
Yes, yeah, we all make bad decisions. We do. We all do. We all know what we
Yeah,
should do, but do we all?
exactly. But the aging thing, I think about that all the time. I
Mm,
don't have children. So I don't get that perspective of watching my
yeah,
offspring grow. I just look at myself in the mirror and I'm sure I'm hallucinating. But every time I look in the mirror, I'm like, it's still all right. Things are still holding together. And I feel good. I don't bounce as well as I used to, and I
no,
certainly don't recover well.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I learned how to just mellow out a little bit and take it easy.
yeah, yeah. I love it. I look in the mirror and I say, "You're still a 16-year-old boy." That's what you.
I always say pick your parents well. That's really the trick. Pick your
Yeah,
parents well.
I love it. Oh God, I
You
love
do
it.
have a baby face, though. Good grief.
Do I? Oh, thank you.
Yes, you do. For someone, yeah, that's because you did the slip, slop, slap, right, with your sunscreen.
I don't.
What?
Actually, no, I'm terrible with it. I think, you know what I think it is? I'm so bloody childish. I'm so in touch with my inner child, and I find everything funny.
Yes.
I think that's, I'm just naughty. I'm just
I
always
find
naughty.
things funny too. Do you know when everyone gets serious? I think if you were writing a sitcom right now, you'd have a really good story to tell behind this. So if you just stop in the middle of some intense drama zone and you think, what would everyone loves Raymond say right now? You got to find a way to twist it and make it like a little bit of humor and levity.
Yeah.
Oh, we're all so serious.
I know. I know we
I,
are.
I tend to be that way, but that's because I'm wearing a CEO hat, and I think I forget that I'm supposed to be childlike when I'm in business mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look, I think it's a balance, isn't it? Really, because well, like
It
I
should
do
be.
I do leadership training, but there's not a day, not a session goes by where I'm not a complete dickhead. Do you know, like we're having
Yeah.
lots of fun and everybody's just screaming with laughter and it's so inappropriate, but
That
it's
is so
fun.
Australian of you, though. Honestly, it is so. Were you born and raised in Australia?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
of course you were. Why did I even ask? But my husband's from Sydney,
yeah,
so my husband's Australian. We get back to Australia about every other year. So I love it. His sister lives up in Palm Beach.
yeah, yeah.
So you're not gonna, it's not so miserable going up and staying with her. Anyway, I love it. I love traveling. Before I started my company, I traveled so much. When I was a sideline reporter, I was on the road 200 days a year.
Oh,
And that was my first kind of Kickstarter business. But 200 days a year, I thought, I'm not in very good shape. I should do something for people like me who are traveling a lot. So
mm,
I created in-room fitness programming. And and then I thought, well, I'll just go to this conference and I'll introduce myself to people who run the TV programs in hotels. And I met them. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know what I was doing. I had a PowerPoint presentation and I went up and I was like, my name's Leah Garcia. Would you like to showcase my fitness videos, which I hadn't created, in your hotel chain so that when you go in there, you click on your TV and it would be pay-per-view, right? Pay-per-view, but a workout.
yeah,
I thought it was a brilliant idea. And you can lead a horse to water and you can't make them drink. And they said yes. And then I had to go shoot 5 videos because I gave them a whole list of what I was doing. And that was before iPhones. So that was the first time I mortgaged my house to run a business. And I grabbed all these girls and we went into a hotel room and we shot fitness videos, yoga and Pilates and abs and cardio stretching, all with the equipment from the hotel room.
wow.
And then I produced it and I took it to them and click, sync. It's
Oh
like
no.
nobody really bought them. And
Oh,
Karen, you know why? Because I didn't listen to my instinct. Do you know what my instinct was?
I agree. What?
G-string fitness. I should have shot the videos with girls in G-string underwear, and then I would have got the pay-per-view clicks. But no, I was trying to be proper. And yet my instinct was like, anybody in their hotel room, they're not going to want to watch us in our Lululemon gear. They want to see us in a G-string working out. But I didn't do that. Anyway, you don't make your money on your first idea. And yet at the same time, I was playing with product placement so that people who were watching it might see some sports drink in the back or a
Yeah,
piece of
yeah.
product. And then that led me to my first infomercial gig. So something good did come out of it. And then the $1 million flowed from there.
Wow. Oh my God. This you
I'm
just
not short of ideas,
no,
I can
I
tell
know.
you.
You've just said about 12 different things in that, but oh my God. Let's go right. I want to talk about NULASTIN because that's what you do now. That's you're the CEO and founder of that. Let's come back to that because that is I want to really wrap that up and at the end, but leading up to it, you're a professional athlete. You talk about baseball and that sort of stuff, but you also were a rodeo champion, a hang on. No, you were a
Yeah.
sideline reporter for bull riders, but were you riding bulls in the rodeos or
I may or may not have gotten on a bull in my life, and it wasn't pretty. But we had an arena in our backyard, as country folk do. And so we had cattle and bulls, and we were always out practicing and roping and doing things with horses and goats and steers and bulls and you name it. Anyway, so yes, I did get on a bull one time, and I would never do that again. But I'm not afraid of bulls. I'm not
yeah,
afraid of big animals.
yeah,
And so it was a very natural flow for me after I finished my rodeo eligibility in college. And then I found mountain biking, and the mountain bike didn't eat as much hay and it didn't cost me as much money. And it was really fun and empowering. And so then I turned my career to that. But the two worlds did converge once again when I was done with my sideline reporting for extreme sports. And then the rodeo world called me back again. And it was a match made in absolute heaven. 20 years. Karen,
Mm.
20 years. I was the Barbara Walters of the sport,
Wow.
interviewing little cute cowboys. Some were tall, most were just adorable. And all the girls used to ask me, "Can I have your job?" And I'd ask them, "Why do you want my job?" And they'd be like, "Because you get to talk to all the cute cowboys." And I said, "That is the wrong reason to want the job." But they're just good kids, and I never made interviewing about me. I made it about them. But it was in that career of 20 years where I'd look at myself on high definition camera and I would think, "Me, I better stop drinking tequila or do something different." So that's when I started using a better face product and paying attention to what I was doing with my, neck up, because
Yeah.
before I was an athlete and I didn't fuss too much.
Yeah.
So I was never really the girl that fussed.
Yeah.
Even to this day, if I have to go buy makeup, it's just drudgery,
Mm.
drudgery. I'm
Yeah.
not, that's not me. Clothes shopping, I'd rather have a personal shopper, and I don't. But yeah, if I have to go shop, it's just that's not who I am. I want to use my brain and create things and think about how I can twist the dial and make that product for you work just a little bit better. But you know how I want it to work? A little bit better, but you doing a little bit less. So I
Yeah.
want you to get more from doing less.
Yeah.
The lazy
Yes.
woman way of skincare should be my business.
Oh well, I don't even wear makeup, so yeah, we're completely polar opposites in that regard. But and if I had to shop for makeup,
Do you wear a moisturizer?
yeah, yeah, that's all. Yep, that's
Oh, there
all.
you go. When I
Yep.
get to Australia, I'll take care of you.
Ah, how many makeup people say that to me, and I say, get back off. Back.
Yeah. You know what you like about my product though is it's the hair care product that's really we're known for, hair care. But the skincare for me, it has to be built for someone who's active or who wants to keep smiling and not have their face crack.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
be able to put the product on and then forget about it. It
yep,
almost should disappear. You
yep,
shouldn't know you have it. It should be, it feels like baby skin. So
yeah,
baby skin has perfect balanced skin where it's not too oily, it's not dry, it's just wonderful, right?
yep,
That's what
yep,
your skin should feel like at
yep,
any age. And that's what I aim for. And you have to be able to get your skin to breathe. So that's
yeah.
why I get excited about our dermal collection, which
Mm,
we're going to relaunch in another month or so. But it's really the hair care that we're known for, eyelashes, eyebrows, and hair. And it's really tackling people who are struggling with hair loss, who
mm,
are watching their hair thin, who may be losing their eyebrows.
yeah,
Those
yeah,
fade over time, and then you
yeah.
start losing your identity. And
Mm.
so it's a real problem for women and men. But I've been particularly focused on the women's side of things because over 50% of women after a certain age start experiencing hair loss, and they
Mm.
think that there's really nothing they can do about it.
So for you, that's part of your story. When I said at the start, there's always something behind the thing. I mean, there's also the Bell's palsy, going back. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But you started losing your hair, from stress, menopause, trying to start a startup. That I think don't think people realize how much stress is in starting a startup. It all sounds bloody fantastic, but there's a lot
I was
lot
living in
riding on it.
I was
So,
living in an Airstream trailer. So I had a print machine on the side. I was in the Airstream working on a laptop, starting the business. Yeah, sleep, taking a shower inside the teeny tiny shower. I had clothing in a storage unit down the road, but I'd have to drive, and I was still doing television.
oh
So
my
I would drive to the storage unit where I had my dresser drawer set up, and I'd put all my jewelry in my bag and my clothes, and then I'd go to my event on the weekend, and then there was no room in the Airstream to keep my clothes, all of them. So it was back and forth between that, and I don't think you ever get a really good night's sleep in a trailer.
God.
And so that was just lack of sleep, a lot of stress, and my hair was falling out so badly that I had over a silver dollar size. I don't know what you call it over there
Oh,
in Australia, but a big old hunk of hair loss. And I'm super vain. I don't know if you've noticed. Um, so vain. But then I'm like, oh, there will be no cameras in my vicinity. So I never took any pictures really of this problem, which now makes me kind of angry because it would be really great for my
yeah,
marketing if I
yeah.
could certainly show how bad it really was at its worst. Then
Mm,
when it started improving, that's when I got smart and thought I better take pictures of my own problem so that women can relate to me. But I tend to hide. I hid the Bell's palsy. I would hide the Bell's palsy if you can see me in this video by basically holding my hand up, right? So if my
Mm.
face was flopping, I would just hold my hand up as I was talking to you so that I would try to balance it out. It's been pretty crazy that I'm even in television considering how much my face has been paralyzed, mushed, like I had a motorcycle wreck at
Did you?
one point, and oh
Wow.
man, we hit a motorhome going 65 miles per hour, and
Oh,
it was a head-on collision, and I was not wearing a helmet. And I
what?
ricocheted off that thing, and I landed in a somersault and on my feet, and yeah, I was pretty bloody from the waist down, but luckily my face was okay, but it's probably didn't do anything to the old noggin. We won't talk about concussions. I'm sure that there's been a few in my life. Um, but yeah,
Wow.
there's some grit that goes along with it and survival, right? So grit and survival, and they are all good lessons as you are running a business. That I can assure you.
Oh, they are. My God, 65 miles an hour. That's just about 110 kilometers for us. So that's what you do on the freeway. Like that's our
Yeah,
maximum
it was a
maximum.
Harley Davidson, and I know it for a fact because they got those big odometers on the front of them. Vroom, 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 right? So anyway,
Were you driving it or were you a
I was the
passenger?
bitch on back. I was the bitch on back. And the thing is, it was June 18th, and a guy who was a gym, I was a personal trainer at a gym, and he's like, Leah, I just got my bike out of storage. Do you want to go for a ride? And I looked at him and I said, do you have a helmet? And he goes, no. And I looked at him, I go, what the hell, right?
Oh,
Shrugged my shoulders, what the hell? And so we're going down the road, the main road, and the wind was blowing my cheeks and it was just blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, this is horrible. Have you ever seen people skydive where their face just gets flown back? And I'm just that was the first thing my vain face was thinking. It was like, this is not attractive. So then we stopped and I put a jacket on because I got cold. And I remember specifically, I was wearing a pair of jeans called Lucky U's, the ones that had the little Lucky U inside the fly where you zip it up, and that they had that fun little logo inside these jeans. And so I had my Lucky U jeans on, and then we left and we were going up a canyon. He blew out of one turn, and I'd made a New Year's resolution to myself, and I said, I'm not going to be a backseat driver. That
mm,
was a weird New Year's. I don't make New Year's resolutions anymore. But at that point, and that was January, so here it was June, and I'd said to myself, "All right, Leah, don't be a backseat driver. You
mm.
know, if this guy's he's driving, let him do his job." So he blows out of a turn, and then the next turn he's blown it out, and I'm watching the motor hum,
Oh,
and I know that you use the F bomb, so I'll tell you exactly what flew out of my mouth. I said, "Oh fuck, we're gonna hit him," and
oh
then
my God.
boom, that's the last thing I remember before I came to.
Oh my God. Was he injured? Did because
Yeah,
he
he
would.
was pretty, we both survived. He was pretty injured as well.
My God.
Um,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
and that was
Wow.
the end of my motorcycle riding, I can tell you that.
Well, I used to ride motorbikes all the time. I haven't had one for years, but I often look at my motorbike riders and I think, bloody hell, I'd love to have a little ride, but I'm not going to because I know
Oh,
exactly what you said. I don't bounce anymore.
oh, I love the idea of a throttle, especially I'm on a bicycle and I pedal and I don't have an e-bike and I love the idea of a throttle, but I know it'll be the end of my fitness. I
Yeah.
know that I will
Yeah.
like it so much that I will quit wanting to like stretch my lungs.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we went and bought push bikes because we thought, we wanted an e-bike. And I said, look, we probably won't even ride them. We'll think it's a fancy idea like our kayaks. We'll do it once and we'll never do it again. And then we decided I went to Big W. It's kind of like your Walmart, and they have
Yeah,
bikes and they had mountain bikes, which you've ridden, and I'm like, I don't want to ride that because I don't want to be all like that, with the steering with the handlebars. So I went and bought what do you call those? Like the old fashioned
right.
retro handlebars. Do you know and a big
Oh,
big
very cool.
it's called a
You have a
big
kind of a cruiser bike
a
then.
cruiser. That was it.
A
Yeah.
cruiser.
And I've got
I
a,
love I have quivers of bicycles. I own a house in California, and it's a horrible problem because I have to have my quiver of bikes here in Boulder, my mountain bike, my cyclocross bike, my road bike, my cruiser bikes, all of and then in California, the same. So it's a problem. It's a big, huge problem financially to love bicycles because they ain't cheap these days.
no, they're not. No. Well, I
Mm-mm.
made a cheap one. We bought a cheap one and I fitted it out to make to make cruiser bikes. It's fantastic.
Get off the bench. You just got to go do it. That's the whole thing.
We rode him a couple of times and I said, oh, my neck hurts. I don't want to, and my bum hurts. I hate this. And then I thought, we're not going to ride them anymore. So I looked it up and just, no, you bugger it. I'm going to make, so I got ourselves cruiser handlebars and a big bum seat. They're called big bum seat. And I thought, and now we're really happy. We just cruise along on our
Yeah.
mountain bikes.
You just have to extend your neck. On a mountain bike, you still don't have to put your shoulders up like that.
Yeah.
Practice putting that scapula in your back pocket. You can do it. You can lift your neck. You don't have to be all hunched over. It's just once you get fitter to ride, then you can ride with really nice extended posture. I
Yeah.
promise.
No, well, I can now because I've got a cruiser bike.
Now you got the with a big bump seat.
Yeah, exactly. We still want to get e-bikes, but we know we'll do exactly what you said,
Right,
and
right. It's true.
we'll just be too busy.
But you're doing it, and that's the most important thing. When I met with you in December when we were on the call together, I had just come back from a keynote speech, and it was my first big kickoff keynote. I'd only found out that I was going to get to write it about 10 days before the conference, and but it's something that had been resonating in me, and the speech title was the main one was no regrets. And it sounds so common, but I opened the whole presentation with that. How many of you have ever had a regret?
Mm,
Which I think we all ask
yep,
ourselves, I hope, all the
yep.
time. So my question to you, Karen, is have you ever had a regret? And if so, what did you do about that?
Oh my God. Okay, thanks for springing that on me. Um, well, I don't know. I have, but I can't think of one straight up. A regret. Most of my regrets come from um, things that we thought we were doing the right from animals. It's like a regret that I didn't take that dog to the vet sooner, a regret that I didn't, it's all about, I think most of my regrets come around animal loss and regret. Why didn't I ask somebody about that? Why did I leave it too long? Why did I trust that person? I don't know that I've got too many. No, I probably regret not having more caravan holidays when we had a caravan, but
You're too
which is,
self-actualized. You're too self-actualized to have those big regrets. So I see that about you. But I hear your other one being more of we humans are the only mammal that has an instinct that doesn't always listen to it. So that's what
yeah,
I'm hearing you say about the animals, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
if an animal doesn't want to cross the road, it's not going to cross the road. We humans are like, ah, let's go for it, right?
yeah, yeah,
But it yeah, sounds like you want to heed those mental warnings a little bit sooner.
yeah. And I also look, you know what I've changed my minds about regret,
Okay.
like because it was probably a few years ago. I was listening to um I don't know what I was listening to or reading. Daniel Pink, he's got that book Regret or No Regret or so,
Hmm.
something like that. And he talks about there's this one statement about it is that why do we have regrets? Because a regret is um, wishing or imagining something would have turned out a different way. But the point is, it was only our imagination, and we don't actually know that that would have happened. So, therefore, we're sitting in this place of guilt and regret over something that may not have turned out the way we thought it would turn out anyway. So I've probably tried to be a little less not having regrets, just going, you know what, that's life. Life's okay. I
Well,
miss,
that's such a that I have to be honest. I my perspective wasn't even about when I make a decision, my decision is made. And so I've never, like, I have to own it. And I
Mm,
do own it. So there's really very little guilt that
yeah.
I feel. So that I'm finding what he said very interesting. And I was thinking more of the maybe the longing of what you've wanted to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
and the regret for not having acted on that longing. So
Yeah.
maybe I should reframe how I was thinking about it to perhaps clarify a bit more. I like his is
Yeah. I'm not sure I've
probably
got
coming from a higher level of intellect than
yeah.
mine was. I was just like,
Oh,
damn, I sure wish I would have studied Spanish in high school overseas. And instead, he's doing something much more ethereal, I'm thinking.
yeah, it's funny because, I think I probably didn't, I probably haven't said it exactly right. So you should look it up.
I
But,
will, I will. I'll,
it's kind of like that Garth Brooks. You would know Garth Brooks,
of
being
course. My
yeah.
buddy is his manager.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Seriously? Oh my
yeah.
God. Well, I want to meet him. I want him.
He's supposed to be one of the nicest men ever. His whole family, just wonderful human beings.
Oh, I just love him. I remember watching him on a concert on TV and I was like, who is this man? This was years and years ago. Now, I'll tell you two things about him. One is exactly what we're talking about now, his song Unanswered Prayers. I often think about when you think about regret, that he had this high school love and he met her again at the football game with his wife. And then he when he was in high school, he just wanted to marry her, but he didn't. He married his wife, and I know they're divorced now. I know all that stuff. But then he looked at this woman and said, "Sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers. You know that she's
Mhm.
not the same as I thought she was, and what if I had have gotten with her?" So I think in my life, I'm very reflective of the past, and I think, thank God that happened. Like I kind of a little shift on regret. It's kind of like, oh my God, if I had have got my way back then, I'd be in a very different situation now, and I don't think it would be great. I don't think it would be
It is the key to
as
positivity and just a very nice outlook. That is, if I could wave a magic wand to everybody to be able to realize that whole don't cry over spilled milk part of life
yeah.
and whatever may have happened, whether it was losing someone, and it's intense, I get it. And there's those moments, but at the end of the day, I really do believe everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I do
So if
too.
Garth Brooke didn't marry his first love in high school, led him to a career where he got to use that fun little microphone before Victoria's Secret salespeople did. And it was, how cool is he? What a cool guy.
Oh, incredibly cool. Another story about him is, he brought out the song. I know he didn't write it, but If Tomorrow Never Comes, well
Yes.
before
Yeah. The
Ronan
most
Keating
famous.
did. Yeah. And I remember hearing that for the first time and I just burst into tears, And this was just after my sister died or around the same time, that she died. And it was just so, I listened to it about 20 times before I could not just cry like a bloody maniac, and I decided back then, and this would have been 20 years ago or something like that. I decided then that I'm going to tell people what I think of them. I'm going to tell people that I think they're great, that I think they're wonderful, that they look fantastic, that I admire them, and because without without any need for reciprocation or even desire for reciprocation, it's just like I want to say this to you because I feel it because so many humans don't do that. We think if I say to you, God, Leah, you look fantastic for 63, you're beautiful. Well, some people wouldn't do that because they would go, oh my God, what if she rejects me? What if she doesn't say it back? What if she, laughs or whatever it is, and so people don't say it. But I think we should say it because it's a gift, like we're giving something to someone. You don't hold back a birthday present because well, what if they don't give me one? Well, actually, some people do. But
Right, I know. It's just second guessing all of that, but I feel exactly the same way. And oh, I am known for, first of all, when I go to New York, it's a joke because I'm the one who walks down the street and says hi to
yeah,
people, right? And
I
I'm like Crocodile Dundee in the city. And then I'll be waiting in line at the supermarket and I'll see someone and I'll say, oh my gosh, your outfit is so fantastic, or I love your hair. And I'm not trying to get anything from it. It's
Yeah.
just I'm observing something in my mind beautiful
Yeah.
or something that I want to just celebrate in that
Yeah.
moment. And
Yeah.
that's what I do. And I've done it forever and I'm annoying. I am so annoying. But it comes out naturally and I don't want it any other way.
Agree.
I would never change that. I don't want to change that.
Yeah.
Um, I I will say this, when I moved to Spain on my one-way ticket to learn Spanish because of my regret that I didn't go there when I was in high school, I got to Spain. I started teaching English, and I was teaching at this English academy, and I had this group of students, and of course, I was the quote Native American. Now, at first, I thought I had to be Native American, as
Yeah.
in American Indian,
Yeah.
and then somebody had to shake me and go, "Hey, Leah, no, you idiot. They mean a native of America." And I thought, "Oh, well, isn't that interesting?" I was so sheltered. And so I'm over there teaching this English class and just glass half full, overwhelming positivity. And it's in the northern Spain. And in northern Spain, very different from southern Spain. They're a little cooler, they're colder. It's colder in the area. They don't initially open up like somebody from the south would do.
Yeah.
And so, they don't know how to handle me. And I literally had a guy leave class one time. Basta, you're too positive. I don't like your energy. You're too much. He left.
Wow.
And I was so fascinated. I thought he left class because I was positive. The others that stayed had the full dose of me, but it was just realizing though that I can temper myself if needed.
Yeah.
You don't want to come in guns a-blazing sometimes where everybody else is in a mellow mood. That's
Yeah.
so freaking annoying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now as I've gotten older and I'm okay, read the room a little bit, Garcia, read the room. So now I try not to come in just like, woo, happy party day. Now it has to be read the room. But I will do this, even when I'm reading the room, I'll just say, remember where you came from. And then I just like a zinger. I just like to take a serious moment and throw a zinger in there. Remember what my dad was a truck driver,
Was
right?
he?
A cowboy. He's a rodeo cowboy and a truck driver. So I also like to just, throw an F-bomb every now and then in a nice business meeting to just show him where I came from.
So-
And I do it on purpose. It's like just dropping breadcrumbs as you're walking down because I'm like, they're either going to love me or not. And we'll find out soon enough. And better if I find out early than late.
Exactly, exactly. When you're talking about entering a room, I love that concept because, I teach confidence. And that's what my confident leaders is confidence. It's when you walk in a room, you don't have to go in loud and big, and hey, I'm here and blah, blah, blah. It's about your presence. You can walk into that room silent and say nothing, but your presence, people feel it, if you, and I love that. You notice when people walk in and they've got presence. That is such a beautiful thing. Such a
It is. You're absolutely right. It's not coming in like a blowhard
Yep.
because
Yep.
that is the worst thing that you could do.
Yep.
But I'm talking about when you're coming in with like your girlfriends and you're about ready to go do something and you're just so excited that you're just like, I'm so happy to be here right now. That's the kind of thing that I will tend to do. But maybe when my girlfriends isn't in the same mood. But by all means, I wouldn't hop into a social event. But yes, I would follow the Carrie Vaughn, walk in with all the confidence, try to get that head up a little bit high, own the room, they say.
I love it. What was your mum like? What was your childhood
She
like?
was quiet. My mother
Yeah.
was a quiet one, very Catholic, very timid. My grandmother, I hear from my relatives in Spain, was more boisterous. She was more like me. She was very gregarious and she didn't know a stranger. She died when I was 12, so I didn't really get to see that side of her. But my mom, who I thought might have been more boisterous, she wasn't. She was very shy and timid. But she married a
Oh.
cowboy and she had a good life. Died early. She died at 52.
Mm.
But I carry all of her great lessons and then some that I've ignored.
the ones that just don't suit. So yours, I didn't even click before. I didn't even put the two together. So your heritage is Spanish. Yeah, I didn't
Basque.
even,
Yes,
yeah,
Urrutia.
yeah,
Well, Garcia is my dad's side, and that's the Portuguese side of the family.
yeah.
And he's fourth generation from the Azores. My mother's side of the family is from the Basque Country, so up by Bilbao, Mungia, Mundaka, all up in Vizcaya.
Yep.
And so that's where my grandfather fled the country during the Franco regime, and he came over in the 1900s on a boat. My grandmother, her little town was kind of on the border, on the outskirts, outside of Pamplona. And then she came over, and then they met in San Francisco, where she was working as a maid and he was a sheep herder. So my
Wow.
grandfather was your typical Basque sheep herder. And I think he was in his 40s when he married my grandmother. So they courted for quite some time and then finally got married and then
Wow.
moved up into the mountains in California, up by the Sierra Nevadas, and
Yep.
lived out their lives. And then when
Wow.
he passed away, she died 4 weeks later of a broken heart.
Oh
Just
man.
pure love.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Oh,
He drank wine at every meal. He had a jug of Gallo
yep.
wine.
Yep.
He'd pick it up with his hand and he'd pour it into a tiny little glass, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And he'd drink a teeny tiny sip of wine with each of his meals.
Wow.
Hey, he didn't live any longer, but he sure lived well.
Yeah.
I think he didn't live long because he rolled his smokes too.
Oh,
He
did
had
he?
his little like pack tobacco. So slowest walking human being you've ever seen in your life. And when I was little, I said to my mom one day, I was like, man, do you think if Nunu were being chased by a bear, he might walk a little bit faster?
With a sip of wine every meal. I don't think you could
I'm
get.
such a
Yeah.
slow walker. That's why I walk fast. I'm not a slow walker. I will not walk slowly. Yeah, if you're walking slow with me, I'm going to drag you.
No, I'm a fast walker too.
I had,
That's
I had a
so.
conversation just this weekend about slow walkers. I call them Neanderthals now.
Yeah.
They're like Neanderthals, but they meander, so I call them Neanderthals. People that walk across the street as if no car's ever going to hit them.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
I
you
know.
just pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to South Africa?
No, no.
In South Africa and in Durban, for example, they post first they post do not drink and walk on the sidewalk, you might be killed. I thought that was really good advice. And then the second thing is now I see why, because to cross the sidewalk there, the traffic does not stop. They aim for you. They just gas it when you walk across. So you literally look like a cartoon character trying to cross the street because the cars aren't slowing down. And
Oh
it's
my
just it's a
God.
live video arcade of your life when you're trying to cross the street. I'm serious. I'm not joking.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty
I
wild.
I have no interest in going there. Thanks.
But it's
No,
good
thanks.
fun.
No, no, thanks.
Keeps
I
you on
don't.
your toes. It's
Yeah,
called survival.
well, we go to Cambodia every year, and the traffic over there. It's just you just people walking in between the cars, but they are considerate and they do
Oh,
care
that's good.
about you and they do miss you. But no.
Oh, mental note to self. Thank you so much for that. Oh my gosh. Well, what's next? I mean, listen, I love this conversation. I don't know if we've got the makings of any decent podcast here
Of
other
course
than
we
the fact
have.
that it's
Yeah, of course.
lovely getting to know you.
Yeah, you too. No, tell me about NULASTIN. Let's what?
Business. Listen, NULASTIN is, I'm having my 10-year anniversary tomorrow. So 10 years ago is when I
Wow.
incorporated the
Yeah.
company. I'd been working in the elastin space for almost a decade before I incorporated. I'd fallen in love with this protein elastin. But then when I started the business, then it was just get off the bench.
Mm,
I did not know how to I didn't know how to do anything, but I did
mm,
it all. I
mm,
I I have that theory. If you don't know what you don't know, you don't know it. And I
mm.
didn't know that I needed a business license, and I didn't know the
Yep.
tax
Yep.
implications, and I didn't know. I built my first website on Wix.
Yep.
I come from the television world, so I had enough friends who ran camera and could do audio. mixing. So I shot some of my early assets myself back in 2016, grabbed friends and family and people, just whoever we can. As a matter of fact, I was in Palm Beach in Australia over Thanksgiving week, our Thanksgiving, but your timeline. And I was putting together all of the last minute parts of what I wanted to do for the video shoot. Flew back to California. Um, my husband's back goes out. Weird. He just had some weird back spasm because he'd gone right from there to London and back. Anyway, then I call some girlfriend of mine. I'm like, 911 emergency. I need you in Calabasas tomorrow. And then she shows up in Calabasas and we go to Costco and we buy a bunch of food. And then I've got fun girls coming over and camera crew and we rented an Airbnb and we shot video. And then I had to teach myself how to edit the video. So I learned how to edit video and I did all of that, put my first assets out, and I kid you not, people said, oh, they look too good. Everybody likes a little bit more raw video, right? You got a little
Wow.
like you didn't try so hard. So anyway, fine. I didn't care. We bought, I had to put stickers on my first tubes because I didn't have the money to buy a full round of containers. And I just kept figuring it out and figured it out. Every day I'd figure it out. And I set
Yep.
up my Instagram account and social media, and I didn't know how to do it. I wasn't
Yep.
fancy. I didn't know about influencers or affiliates or UGC. I just put product out. I built my shitty little website, and I would, I'm first, like, doors open, ready,
Yep.
here we go, and got my first order and then said, oh, this is fun. Let me set up Amazon. And Amazon is still on my AOL.com account, which is absolutely embarrassing and hilarious at the same
Mm.
time because I didn't even have a fancy website or a domain name. And my next door neighbor who I hired helped me with all of my IT. And then I just kept cranking and I wrote out all the responses and did all the customer service because I just cared so deeply about taking care of the
Mm.
customers. And I
Mm.
started selling product. And so the company went from zero to $11,000 in my first year, and I was profitable. Yay. And then the next year, $3 million. dollars.
Oh my
And then
God.
the following year, $7 million. dollars. And in between there, I hired an agency to help me at least
Yep.
work my paid media because I
Yep.
didn't know what to do there. And I was still doing all of my own customer service. And
Wow.
it was whack-a-mole. It was absolutely crazy. But because I'm an ex-pro athlete and I had a lot of
Yep.
endurance and energy, I just did it until one day I was in the car with a really good family, long-term best friend, and she looked at me and she's like, "Holy shit, you need some help. Like you you cannot be doing this." And so I thought, okay, you're right. And then that's when I brought customer service in-house.
Yep.
But that wasn't until 2021. So
Wow.
I was taking care of everything with the help of this one agency, and I do need to give them some props because they really took a load
Mm.
off. And but yet I didn't have an employee until 2021. So
Five
I was up to
years.
17, over $17 million before I hired my first real employee.
Wow.
And I didn't think I needed employees. I didn't know, right? Because I'd never run a business like
Yeah.
this before, and I didn't put it on my business. When I put my marketing plan together,
Mm.
I literally forgot employees on the marketing plan. It
Yeah,
didn't
but
occur to me.
yeah, but yes, I hear what you're saying, but when you do start a startup like that, it's your baby, do you know, and you don't want other people coming in and you really don't like most people, and they'd be lying if they said, "Oh, I put stuff on straight away." No, you don't, because if you've got a startup, it's your baby, and you want to make sure that sucker works before you let anyone else get in there with their little fingers bloody probbing around in there. But 17 million 5 years without that is that's fabulous. I won't say unbelievable because it is believable, but it's
I know, right? I met one
fabulous.
other gal in the Ernst and
Wow.
Young community. She had a nail company and she went from zero to 22 million by herself before she hired someone.
Wow.
And when I met her, I thought, oh, you and I might be the two unicorns of that world who've
Mm.
done that. Um, and I'm not saying though that's been easy to get past there. So I
Mm.
had explosive growth and things seemed to be easy. And I don't know if you've ever read The Alchemist, but when they
Yep.
start talking about beginner's luck,
Yeah.
I think there is a small element of this sort of naivete and the
Mm,
beginner's luck. And I did things wrong that I can't do now because
mm,
now I'm too professional to make the same
yeah.
structure function claim mistakes that I made then.
Yeah.
But I was a little ballsy and I was rogue and I didn't do everything by the book. And that's why I think I was able to go fast like I did. And then when I thought, wow, I better button this up now. Because once you get
Mm,
to a certain stage, you better button up so
yeah.
that you don't get slapped with a lawsuit
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
anything else. Because at that point, that's when the predators will come in and say, all right,
Yeah.
we want a piece of this. So I
Yeah.
had to be very careful. And now we're pretty buttoned up. And I am very proud to say that I think we're turning a corner in momentum because we've
Mm,
been pretty steady Eddie for
mm,
the last year we did well. We had a not I used to 2.5x, right? That was
mm,
the crazy time. Then we were, chasing 10% year over year.
yeah.
And last year we ended up about 6% year over year.
Mm,
And I thought, okay, I can live with that, right?
mm,
Still had a good CAGR, everything seemed okay. And now I'm feeling we've got finally momentum of all of the things that we've done from a
mm,
PR angle and just getting our name out there for brand awareness. And it
yeah.
took me this long
Mm,
to really get brand awareness because I felt like I was just a small town company, even though I felt big, I
yeah.
acted big, I presented big. But if I'd walk down the street, people would know what the company was.
Mm,
So
mm.
now it's changing.
Wow. Well, I think 17 million a year is pretty bloody good anyway. I don't think that's
And I
baby
think I
steps.
think my EBITDA was about $5 million. It was like, oh, there's so much money, and the rest was all spent on paid media. But those were the good old days before iOS 14, as they say. That was something that changed the e-commerce world over here in the United States. And I can't go to Australia yet because y'all are super persnickety about your peptides and your growth factors and your ingredients. And I'm clean. I have a really clean ingredient list, but it's still not clean enough for you guys. Still not clean enough.
Really? Really?
No, no,
Wow.
but you watch, mark my words, I'm gonna get there. I'm going to get there. It's gonna take a little effort, but I'm gonna get there.
Well, I'm surprised to hear that because there is some really shitty stuff on the market that's dangerous, bloody dangerous for you. It's got
Like
got a lot of
like a Tesla, those Tesla
uh,
trucks. You guys ban those.
have we banned them? Well,
I
I
think
wouldn't buy I
so.
wouldn't buy one anyway because I'm not.
Yeah.
But
But
oh,
I don't know. I think that your ingredients are beautiful. I think you've got some really good biochemistry. I've been watching some of your formulators in Australia, and I don't think anyone can touch Australia when it comes to teeth whitening and some of the really great avant-garde oral hygiene products that are happening. And in
really?
Brisbane, when I was there, I was really surprised at how many tech companies are in Brisbane and their global impact that they're having. So
Wow.
there's a lot happening in this personal care space.
Wow. Well, see, I wouldn't even know any of that. I tell you what I do know and I really love is that your product is not tested on animals. I really love that. I mean,
It's tested on me, and I'm an animal, but that's
ah,
it. Ben and I, we just did a clinical study ourselves where we wanted to see how many uses. I had an engineer test how many uses we got out of our brow serum and our lash serum. So you
yeah,
dip it all the way in, close it, open it, and put it on. Dip it, close it, put it on. So each of us did 6 weeks in one fell swoop.
yeah.
Well, I had scabs under my eyes because I'd been rubbing on my face too long. And he put so much of my lash serum on. He did about 12 weeks worth of lash serum again in one fell swoop. And I looked at him that night and his eyes were just red and miserable looking. And he looked like he'd just been stoned and just smoking weed for the whole afternoon. And I go, oh my gosh, this is why we don't test on animals and only humans.
Yeah,
But we now have our
exactly.
answer.
Exactly, because I don't know any rabbits that wear mascara. But anyway,
No,
or
but
dogs
we
that have.
sacrifice ourselves for our product. And I
Well,
say that, I was like, do you think anybody else is out there testing their own product incessantly on themselves? And that's what we do. And we do it to sweat. I'll put on product. I'll go for a long bike ride in the heat of the day to make sure that my face can still sweat, to make
Mm.
sure that everything, and does my product cause my eyes to do weird things? I just, if I can't use it myself and be my own guinea pig without
Yep.
being little piggies,
Yep.
that's what I do.
I'm wrapped. I love that so much. I don't know why we test on animals. I don't know why we have to do that cruelty. I really don't understand that shit, but I'm so glad you don't. I'm so glad. But it's also
Thank you.
got, I looked at all your other little logos too, and I can't remember them all, but you've got the forest sustainability, and there's a lot of what will I call it? Good ethical, the stuff that all the ethical certifications and all that kind of stuff.
We're not, oh, we're working on it. And can I just be honest about that? That's one of my, that is something that is so interesting because when I was starting, because I was bootstrapping and it was just my
Yeah,
mortgaged house was a finite number. What
yeah,
I had to work with was a finite number. When I would make money, the money needed to be put back into marketing. So it wasn't as if there was the splurge to buy the right types of products. For example, this is a single stream recycling pump. Okay.
yeah,
You would think that this recyclable pump, you should just be able to get it. Not easy. And the minimum quantities that you have to order to get it, this was custom made for me. There's just to do right is
yeah.
really expensive. So then increases your cost of goods. So I couldn't do it out the gate. So in the
Mm,
beginning, my all my packaging wasn't all sustainable and it wasn't where I wanted it to be, but I had to just say little steps, little steps, little steps, right? And this is the get off the bench story that I'd love your listeners to really understand. And that is you're right. You keep your intention. You know the direction that you're going. If
yeah,
it's not perfect out the gate,
yeah,
don't beat yourself up about that.
yeah,
Just keep making better decisions and steps and do what you can when you can.
yeah,
And I'd love to say I was perfect, sustainable, vegan certified from the very
mm,
beginning, but I wasn't.
yeah,
And I worked my way up and I'm working my way up even further. So we're
yeah,
getting there. It's still tricky with packaging, and I've had to make a lot of decisions. For example, even um, for plastics. So to get plastic that is post-consumer recyclable,
yeah,
it just messes with the color.
yeah,
And so it really hard. So then you have to say, oh, do we want to do 10%, 20%, 30%, 0%? What do you want to do? How much are you willing to sacrifice how this looks on the shelf
yeah,
and the customer appeal versus otherwise?
yeah,
And can I tell you that we did a survey
yeah,
and the customers, very woke, mind you, very woke
yeah,
customers,
yeah.
very little actual interest in sustainability.
Really?
We think
Wow.
because we care,
Yeah.
we think they care, but when push comes to shove, when
Wow.
it came in print, at least the 2,000 people that we surveyed,
Mm.
it they cared, but not nearly as much as some of the other things. So I thought that was really
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and the vegan part kind of gets my goat because for example, one of my recombinant DNA proteins, which is made through fermentation,
Mm.
which basically is just like making yeast for a beer or
Yeah.
something or
Yeah.
cheese. At one point, one input from I don't know how many inputs ago came from some sort of like fat, animal
Mm.
fat, for example. Okay. Anyway, so because of that, my lash and brow serum is not vegan
Mm.
because of this animal imp that was so long ago that I have no control over it
Mm.
because we are obviously not doing any animal testing,
Yeah.
but I cannot get a vegan status for my lash and brow product because of that one product or that one ingredient.
Mm. Which is
So we're
which I
still
understand.
cruelty free.
Yeah, yeah. But I agree with you though. If you have a vision and you can only work towards it, you can if you wanted to be fully sustainable and fully 100% ethical, which I know you're working towards, and if you could, you would be. There, you would never start. You would never start because you've
Bingo.
you've got to start somewhere. And I think it's
Bingo.
better to start somewhere and work towards where you want to go than to wait for all your ducks to line up, because they never will. And then you'll never get the product out there. But you know what, you can't, you, I work for animals, I work for the planet, I work for the environment, I do whatever I can, but I'm not perfect. There are days when I have to get a plastic bag. There are days when I have to buy something in plastic. You can't avoid it. I use plastic tubs for storage. Like I can't put things out in the shed in cardboard boxes because the rats would eat through them in 3 days. Do you know that sort of stuff? And yes, we do have rats and snakes in the shed, but that's just the way it is. But sometimes you just can't. If I have to run pipes all through my farm, I can't. They're plastic pipes. I can't just run. So
Yeah, you're using PVC.
I
It's
use an
true.
iPhone. Do you know?
We all ought to be very careful throwing stones in our glass houses.
Yes, we should. And it's not, I don't think nobody can say they're perfect. Nobody can stand above anyone else with their ethics. What I think we can do is to go, how can I do better? Is there a better choice I can make? And if not, I can't. There's nothing I can do about it. It doesn't matter what smartphone I use, it's going to come from some poor kid pulling shit out of the ground in Africa. You know what I mean? But if I
Mhm.
don't have a smartphone, I can't then inspire other people to make better choices about other things. So it's always a catch-22, and it's always, well, what's the best decision I can make with what I've got? And we're not a magical pure world, and it would be great if we were, but we're just not. And we have to make advances that are steady and that can inspire other people to question things, and to make better choices. But that is all we can do. We can't well, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I
I
think.
call it the 80-20 rule, and sometimes it's
Yeah,
75-25, but
yeah,
it's with my fitness too. It's the way I eat,
yeah,
it's how I live. I want to be good, let's say 80% of the time. I want to do as well as I can 80% of the time, and
yeah,
that gives me 20% slop.
yeah.
Okay. So when
That's
you
how I
have a bad
live.
day, if you're using your plastic or if you're making a
Yeah,
decision that might not be the best, that's your 20% slop. Don't do it every day. Don't make the
yeah,
20% slop, the 80%,
yeah.
then make 80% good decisions. Then some days you're just going to be spot on and you won't have the slop in your life. But if
I
you
agree.
you try to live too pure, you'll first of all you'll be so fucking annoying that no one's going to want to talk to you. That I promise you. Number
Yeah,
two, you're going to be that person that comes into someone's house and they're like panicking because they're like, oh no,
yeah.
Ken's coming over and she's going to judgy, judgy, judgy. And you just don't want to live that life either. So 80-20 rule is the best way to
I'm
be.
100%. God, you and I are so aligned in so many ways. I was just thinking my great grandfather brought sheep out to Australia too. So it's kind of like there's a lot of little things. I don't know Spanish, but when that 80-20 rule, I talk about that all the time. And when I'm training leaders, I say it's 80-20. You do be a great leader 80% of the time, and you're going to have 20% slip. But when you slip, recognize it and
Yeah,
then try to do better next time. Ask yourself, why did I slip? Just ask yourself,
call
why
it
did I
slip. I
slip? And
call
so
it slop. See?
slop,
Slip, slop.
slip, slop, slap.
Slip, slop, slap. Only Australians know that one. Slip, slop, slap. Get that sunscreen on your face. Wish I would have come up with that catchphrase. I did not know that you had the 80-20 world and or rule, and we are good. I used to have another rule. This was with a boyfriend of mine from many, 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 many years ago, and it was a 10-minute rule. And my 10-minute rule was that when somebody walked in the house that was your partner that you're living with, the first 10 minutes should only be positive. How was your day? What's going on? Like all of the stuff should be
Wow.
positive. You get 10 minutes before you start bitching because most people, when they get comfortable with somebody, would come into the house and they'd
Yep,
throw their bag down. They're like, I'm so
yep,
tired,
yep, yep,
blah, blah, blah. Things didn't go great. And they
yep,
would just bitch. And that sucks for
yep,
whoever has to greet them, right?
yep.
So then I had the 10-minute rule, which is when you walk in the house with your partner, your first 10 minutes better all be positive.
I love that. You know
Then
what?
you can bitch.
Do you know,
But
but
by then you
yeah,
don't want to.
No, that's I was just going to say that, but you won't want to because
You
whatever
won't
you
want to.
feed grows. So if you feed the
Right.
positivity, you kind of go, do you have any shitty moments? Ah, yeah,
Yeah,
but I can't be bothered talking about them anymore. But if
true.
you come in shitty, the shitty grows. And
The
then
shitty
and
grows.
then it's the fucking dog and the fucking TV and that gives
Everything. The
me the
person that
shits.
drove and you don't like the
Exactly.
way they turn their car and you're just like, and that person and this person and they said that and it's horrible. And I've done it.
I
So I
love
know
that.
it's kind of needing to re-remind ourselves of what our intentions need to be. So there it is, the 80-20 and the 10-minute rule.
I love it.
And
I
your
don't.
next book should just be on time,
Oh yeah, yeah,
percentages and time.
yeah. I absolutely love that. The 10 minute, yeah, I haven't not done that and I haven't thought about that, even though I know the psychology of that. I've never set that rule in place, but I think I'm going to. I'm going to, when I
I
get,
invented it. You can have it. It is now yours. I present you with my invention.
I receive it with love. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
good.
It's a great one. Well, Leah, I've loved this conversation. I
Likewise.
love you. I love your energy. I love your, what's the word I want to look at? I don't like the word grit so much, but it's your mindset. I love your mindset to say, well, that's fucked. Well, let's me do something about that. I'll fit and just that get out of the gate, get moving. I love that. I love that so much. So, I don't know. I just think you're a bloody gem. I'm so bloody grateful to Sam. And she put us in the same breakout room, and it was just I felt a connection to you straight away, and I'm so bloody glad we followed up, and I really am.
Can I tell you something? I normally do smile an awful lot, but because you're such a squinty-eyed smiler, you smile so big, your little eyeballs just kind of turn into little slits, and you're smiling so big, and I'm finding myself mimicking your actual face, and I'm smiling with my little eyes as squinty as I can get them right now because I'm matching your energy. And I don't know if you know you have that effect on people. Do you
Oh,
know that?
I know I have an effect on people, yes, but people say I'm infectious, and but thank you, thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thanks for making me smile bigger and so much that my cheeks now hurt.
Could never become a supermodel, not that I want to, but because I've got
Oh,
smiley little eyes, and I would
yes.
never wish that on you. You like to have your vanity stuff,
No, no,
so
no. I
don't
love
squint.
crow's feet. I love smile lines. I don't want them to go away. I have a friend in LA who is so porcelain. She will say to me, I never smile very big because I don't want to cause wrinkles.
Oh my God.
That's a real thing in LA.
Oh
Beware of
my.
people who want to salvage wrinkles at the mercy of smiling big and having a good time.
Oh no. Well, I'm
It
buggered.
happens.
I'm buggered. I got wrinkles. What do you? I call them laughter lines,
Oh yeah,
Astorians.
they're there. They're there. When are you coming back to the States? When are you coming over for a visit?
Well, not while you know.
I know we don't seem very welcoming right now, but some of us are.
I know that. It's getting through customs.
Some of us still have a safe space in our land.
Well, when I do, I'm going to let you know. When are you coming to
That's right.
Australia?
That's right. Oh, probably next year. We just went this last year, so we'll probably skip it. I'm going to go see the family in Spain this year,
Yep, yep,
2026. I've got to get
yep.
back and see all the family and drink lots of wine and hear lots of stories and practice my Spanish and my Castilian. And I don't speak Spanish very well, but when I moved there, I really wanted to learn. I want to learn how to recite a poem and I wanted to learn how to tell a joke. Those were literally my only two goals in the country. And I will not tell you what poem I learned because it's a piropo and it's naughty. It's naughty, naughty, naughty. And it's only used when I'm at a bar and I really want to just like floor people, and that will capture some attention. But that should give you a nice cliffhanger for the next time we see each other.
Wait, I can't wait. Well, anyway, somewhere along the line, we're going to catch up with each other and have a bloody good time. I tell you what.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much
Oh,
for just hanging out with me. Thank you for hanging out.
it's my absolute pleasure. I love this stuff. Where can people find you?
Oh, you can go to nulastin.com, nulastin.com in the US. And then my personal website, I think you've already seen that one. It's leahgarcia.com
Yep.
or Naturally Caffeinated, which is my moniker business,
Yep.
Naturally Caffeinated, because there is a story. One day I was thinking about getting my first business card and I was working as a personal trainer in the gym and somebody looked at me and they go, "You should just call yourself caffeinated." And I looked at them and I said, "Naturally." And so that's how my business stuck. It's Naturally Caffeinated. And I trademarked that and I've had that one for well over 20 years. That's my main umbrella business is Naturally Caffeinated. And NULASTIN is my corporate professional business.
I love it. All right, so 3 websites. Well, I'm going to put them in the show notes anyway, so people
Thank
can
you very
reach
much.
out. But I've absolutely
Hugs,
loved it. Yeah, big hugs to you, big
hugs, hugs,
ones,
hugs.
and
Thank you for what time is it there?
it's 12:12 actually.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
in the lunchtime. Yeah, really.
High noon. High
Yeah,
noon. I
yeah,
love it. Well, big hugs. Thank you so, so very much. This was an absolute blast.
yeah. Thank you so much. It really was. We'll catch up in
Bye.
person soon. Mwah. Thank you. See ya.